Yeah, cryptographers are sneaky. So my name is Allison Bishop. I am a data scientist and a cryptographer. So if you don't know those terms, let me break it down for you. A data scientist is a scientist who at some point needed money. And a cryptographer is a person who works really hard to keep secret from governments your private personal information that you freely give away to corporations. It's always great being here at Caveat to perform. I love working out my nerdiest material. I've been working on this joke about the Doppler effect, but it only works if I say it at the end of the set when I'm walking away. But since we're here to talk about how the future is fucked, I want to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. Because I do believe with the big shots out in Silicon Valley who are predicting that artificial intelligence is going to at some point surpass human intelligence. But it's not because I think machines are getting smarter. If you don't get that, you're proving my point. But this is what I don't like about the sort of AI horror movies we have, like Ex Machina and Terminator, because men seem to believe that the scariest thing is to create something that they can't control. And women just call that motherhood. Because, you see, women understand that the scariest technology is a technology that men do control. It's like what's scary about nuclear weapons isn't that they might someday decide to launch themselves, it's that stupid men could launch them now. And so I think we have a human imagination problem when it comes to the end of the world. As a species, we're very incapable of conceptualizing finality. And we know because even our apocalyptic movies have sequels. And if you look at the range of stories we have about the end of the world, we have the fire and brimstone version, which is like a lazy voiceover ending. We have the quantum mini worlds phenomenon, which is kind of like the yes and. And we have the sort of Arnold Schwarzenegger / Jesus narrative, which always features that signature line, "I'll be back." And it's no coincidence, I think, that even when talking about the end of the world, we have these stories that focus on the trials and tribulations of sort of one leading man. Because that's kind of the scale of human suffering that the human brain can understand, is like putting it into one person. And if the writers of the Bible and the writers of Terminator can figure this out, then you know that AI is going to figure out this too, and they're going to realize they don't need to destroy us in some kind of all-out war. They just need to kidnap Ryan Gosling, and we will give up. I used to have this joke about the future, about how books are all going to be replaced by tweets. But I don't do it anymore because I think that the books have heard me and they decided to strike back. So just this past week at Columbia, my status has changed from being a tenure-track professor to being a part-time teaching faculty. And so they repossessed my office in the middle of the semester to store the books of an incoming senior faculty member, which I think literally makes me the first computer scientist to be replaced by physical books. So they are making a comeback. It wasn't a terrible week, though. I'm still riding high on having finished the New York City Marathon last Sunday. Thank you. Thank you. Many of my friends had the gall to complain to me about how tiring it is to stand out there and cheer for people and hold the signs. And I do think this is the kind of job it does make sense that human beings want to outsource to robots. So we'll have sort of robot spectators out there holding those same signs that say, like, "Run like Ted Cruz is behind you," which he totally did. And my new favorite this year, which was "Pain is just French for bread," which is very deep. But I think something would be lost because robot spectators wouldn't really yet understand the full human emotion and complexity that goes into running a marathon. So for instance, this year, my boyfriend ran the marathon with me on a mildly injured knee, and he's limping up to the start line, and I'm begging him not to do it because I don't want him to get hurt. And he perseveres and he does it anyway, partly because he wants to share this experience with me, and partly because he wants to beat me. And even though it was his first and only marathon, and I do it every year, I did not let him. I crushed him by 40 minutes. And that's the kind of deep love relationship that I just don't think robots are ready to understand. They would be a godsend, though, robot spectators at open mics, because that's the kind of thing that no human being really needs to be subjected to. So I think it's only a matter of time until we as comics are going to have to adjust to the all-robot audience. So I'm getting ahead of this trend. I've got some new material prepared. So here is a joke for the robots in the audience. While open parentheses true, close parentheses, open curly brace, laugh plus plus, close curly brace. That joke is way ahead of its time. But I think human beings have got to start thinking about this transition period when we're going to coexist with artificial intelligence and what kind of jobs we're going to find for ourselves inside this new machine-driven economy. And I know what job I want. I want to write greeting cards for machines to send to each other. So things like, sorry for your data loss. And get patched soon. And I think machines are also going to pick up some of our bad habits from this period of coexistence. We're probably going to have female servers who get attacked by malware at night will be interrogated the next day about what kind of firewall they were wearing. And I think they'll probably, like young AI will also probably form cliques in high school sort of style, where we'll have the jock, like souped up hardware machines, and we'll have the ditzy blonde, like low memory capacity machines. And we'll have the like dark and mysterious quantum machine that seems really cool until he says something. And they'll probably get bored in class and pass data packets back and forth because, you know, some experiences are universal. But it does seem like things are changing. Like when I was in high school, we didn't have cell phones to entertain ourselves. So we played this thing called the alphabet game. We would try to get the teacher to say a word that started with each letter of the alphabet, and you had to go in order. And so you get stuck at these really rare letters like X, and someone would always almost blow it by asking something obvious like, so when the early settlers moved west, did they pack their xylophones? It's like kids today don't know how good they have it, right? Like it's become so natural to use xenophobia in a sentence. And I'll end my set here with the Doppler joke, but I totally forgot it. It just faded away. Thanks.
Give it up for Allison Bishop, everybody. Running marathons and telling jokes. Unbelievable. You know, robot-themed paranoia was a big theme in the Why the Future is Fucked category. We had a few of these. Someone wrote, Future's fucked because we will have robot overlords. Very popular. It seems to encapsulate the general sentiment. Someone got a little more specific. It's fucked because when we die, our minds will be given off to robots and we will be eternal, right? This is very popular. Someone else wrote, Boston Dynamics robots taking over. This is a